Thursday, everybody. My name's Aaron. I'm the co-founder and managing director here at BWG Connect, giant networking knowledge sharing group. I spent a bunch of time on the brand side in the digital space and really desired to have really cool conversations with brands and the top, smartest people around. So kicked this group off about 8 years ago. We'll do a couple hundred webinars every year. We'll do a bunch of in-person small format dinners. If you're in a tier one city, let us know. Would love to meet you in person and give you an invite. I spend the majority of my time just talking with brands that start up the Fortune 100. It's up every vertical and every category that's out there. Just having a good conversation around, hey, what are the biggest pain points you're trying to solve for? What are the new strategies that you're hearing about that you'd like to get more information on? And who's helping you solve the biggest issues that you're dealing with today? When the same thing comes up, the same people, the same problems over and over again, we host an event like this. I don't think with all the stuff that is constantly going on with Amazon, I've been really shocked at the amount of interest in the Walmart marketplace as a whole that's going on right now. And so we've got some really great friends, partners, supporters of the network, and a lot of brands in it over at SellCord. It's been really good friends for a long time now. And so this idea around, hey, how can we learn more about Walmart advertising as a whole? So we have Beyond PPC, a full funnel approach to Walmart advertising, and it's I'm excited to get into it. We have David here and Lane, and the cool thing about what we do is if you have questions, we're going to go through a bunch of content. Any questions you have along the way, don't hesitate to drop in the Q&A section there, and we'll get them answered as quickly as we can. We have some questions people sent in ahead of time. We'll make sure we get those. But with that, David, I'm going to kick it over to you. Do you want to do a brief intro?
Yeah, sweet,
Yourself
Aaron.
and Cellcore, and then kick it over to Lane. We can then jump into the
Perfect.
content. Sound good?
I love that. Thank you so much, Aaron. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, so I'm David. I'm the co-founder and currently COO of SellCord. We are a Walmart exclusive agency. Currently, just growing brands on Walmart.com, just helping them across the board. We work with, brands that are trying to replicate their success from Amazon as well as enterprise, your household brand names looking to expand their digital penetration. So it's been a great journey, and with recently, it's actually part of what's leading into this webinar is Walmart's moving away from managed services themselves into brands now needing to take on their beyond PPC in-house, their display advertising in-house now. So what a great opportunity and time to discuss this. Yeah, I'll throw it over to Lane.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today, Aaron. I love being a part of these. It's always so fun. And yeah, my name's Lane Caruth. I lead our enterprise division here at SellCord. I am based in Northwest Arkansas, so I'm in their Walmart corporate's backyard. I've worked on and off of Walmart for, the last 15 years, and just really excited to kind of dive in today. Lots of new things going on. And with that, I'll kind of pass it back to y'all.
Amazing, amazing. All right, I'm gonna kick off here. I have a deck I'll be sharing over here. We'll be walking through Beyond PPC, a full funnel approach to Walmart advertising, and it's today. All right, let's welcome to today's webinar. We'll be discussing how to maximize your Walmart advertising beyond PPC, PPC pay-per-click. We'll get into it. Creating meaningful touch points along the way from A to Z, the full funnel. By the end of this, you'll understand a little bit more about what does Walmart's ecosystem have to offer? What exists on Walmart? What type of ads can I run? What's the best for my brand? What's the best to do today? Depending on all this, and we'll be diving into that throughout this webinar. So a little bit about SellCord. Here are some of the brands we manage. You probably heard of at least one of these, hopefully. If not, probably not on this webinar. A little bit about SellCord. We're the largest Walmart marketplace agency, driving over $2 billion in Walmart sales across 2 million SKUs. We also have our own proprietary software, Dashnow, which is fully integrated across Walmart Connect, Walmart Marketplace, Walmart Suppliers. So we have a full omni-channel picture for Walmart, which helps our brands grow. And this has been a big push from Walmart's end. Walmart has the DSS, their DSP, both have existed. But this year has had a lot of changes happening to both of them, so we will be discussing that more today. Let's take a quick little view over here at the agenda. What are we going to be talking about? I've done these webinars before and have rambled on for far too long without any room for Q&A. I want to kind of keep it simple today, give you guys the juice, and then we'll get to some questions if people want to get into some specifics. So we'll talk about beyond PPC. I know there's a wide variety of, people who have experience with these, with display, with on-site, off-site. Some people have none, some people very extensive. I want to make sure that we have a comprehensive overview that could be palatable for everyone from no experience to a lot of experience. We'll be talking about what is PPC, understanding the advertising funnel, how audience targeting works. Then we'll get into the specifics of DSS and DSP, the basics of it, what the placements are, and finally building a full funnel advertising strategy with our key takeaways. Let's start.
This sounds awesome. Just, a reminder, everybody, you have questions, drop them in the Q&A and we'll get to them real time as we get rolling.
Please do. Please do. Alrighty. So beyond PPC, I know this is rudimentary for many, but what is PPC? PPC stands for pay per click. Why do I emphasize this? Because PPC could often be called, advertising. People like to throw the two together, while PPC is only a facet of advertising. It is specific to the bottom of the funnel, the piece where we just go straight for conversions. It was popularized, I believe Amazon was, and Google. These are key areas where you might hear this term a lot. And the idea is that PPC on the left side over here is the target method is intent-based advertising. You're taking shoppers who are looking to purchase a specific product. They're trying to buy a microphone. You have your product right there at the top. The cost is cost per click. So you have a CPC. So if somebody clicks on your advertisement, you're paying whatever your bid is, whether it's 50 cents, whether it's $5, whatever the amount is, you are paying for every click on your ad. So there's no cost to simply just running your ads if no one's going to click on it. If you have a very poorly running ad, or let's say you have an extremely high price point, there's nothing and no one's going to be clicking on your product, it doesn't impact you to have the ads running. What are the ad methods on Walmart for this today? We have sponsored product, which is the most common. If you have it within your search and grid, on an item buy box, anywhere you're going to have across Walmart, you'll see a little product and it'll say sponsored. You have sponsored brand, which is to display a little bit more. It is a bit more of a higher up the general funnel because it's more on a brand level, but that's also still, it comes down to keyword level. And then you have also sponsored video, which similarly keyword level targeting, and it will show you a video of your product. Again, these might be a little bit more broad and more advanced than sponsored product, but again, all very intent-based advertising, PPC, every click equals spend. We move to the right side over here, we have the out beyond the PPC piece. So we have here targeting based on interest. So this is about not necessarily taking a look at someone who's looking to purchase something, but going beyond that, looking at what if somebody would be a good customer to purchase this product? If this is something that, I know that this works for a certain demographic, I want to show it to that demographic and they'll be like, oh, actually, I might need this product. So the version of cost over here, the cost method here is instead of it being per click, it's actually per mil, which has to go for every 1,000 impressions, you're paying a CPM, it might be called. So you have CPC versus CPM. So it's very different. And the cause of this, and what's very important here to note, is you have to be much more strategic and you have to also be much more conscious with your ads that you're running. With CPC, if you're in the wrong category, if you're too expensive and you just have all sorts of wrong things with your listings, you're probably not going to get many clicks. So it's not such a big deal. But with impressions is you could quickly rack up thousands and thousands in ad spend if you're targeting the wrong category. So it's super, super important to understand the methodology over here that CPM operates in. The current ad methods today that leverage CPM and interest-based advertising are DSS, which is on-site Walmart display, and DSP, which is off-site programmatic advertising. So again, very simple, very basic over here. I just want to cover the specifics. All right, let's proceed from here. Talk a little bit about the advertising funnel. Let's understand there's many versions of this that add some layers of complexity to it. Some people add the actual sale at the end, but this is the standard advertising funnel. The highest level is awareness, right? People just need to understand that your brand exists. You're just saying, hey, here's my brand. What's up? I'm here. I'm around. We are here. And even to this, you're not going to, obviously, depending on the type of account, type of brand you are, you might want to go very broad, very, very aggressively and advanced how you want to display it without many borders at all. But obviously, you still want to fine tune this to specific specific audience. We'll be discussing that a bit more. But this idea is like, here is my brand. Just know that it exists. You're not expecting someone to see that ad and being immediately like, I'm going to go and purchase that product right now. But if they see the brand once here, they see it over there, they see it a few times over a period of time, they're aware. They know this brand exists. I now know that, SellCord is a company that exists in the Walmart realm. How? I don't know. I didn't look into it, but it's around. Consideration now, it's when people are already starting to look for something. They're already somewhere in that funnel. They know that they need to purchase something, but they're still not quite sure what direction they're going to go. Now you have a little bit more influence. You're going to say, oh, I remember I need some services about Walmart, or I need a great supplement, for my collagen. You could go ahead and be a little bit more down to now hit them with some more information over there. And then lastly, once they're already going and making the purchase, they're on a site. They're looking for collagen supplements. They're looking for, a Walmart agency. They go ahead and they see the final ad over there that just drives that conversion into the actual sale. So a little bit of this funnel throughout. And we'll discuss how different ad types are leveraged throughout this funnel over here. You might have some idea already just based on what I'm saying, but we'll discuss the specifics. So something that we mentioned over here is this audience targeting, this idea of audience, right? With pay-per-click, with PPC on Walmart, it's primarily keyword based. You do have auto campaigns, which sometimes have like homepage, but primary 90+% of your spend is going on a keyword level. And that's going to be if somebody searching for, let's say, collagen, that's the subject we've been using here, the keyword, someone searching for collagen, you're displaying over there. Now you have, obviously, within that, you have more broad match, you have phrase match, you have exact match. That's all still within this phrase and the sphere of collagen. Somebody searching for a specific keyword. But when you go beyond this, when you go beyond pay-per-click, it's now not necessarily on a keyword level, but rather on a demographic, perhaps, graphic. So what is an audience? An audience is a defined group of Walmart shoppers that you want to reach. How can you use these audience? You want to target the right audience that's a good fit for your product. I'll give an example from experience. We work with a brand who's new to Walmart, trying to grow their in the diaper business. Now they have a clean product, they have a clean diaper, and they're really just trying to get in and break into Walmart. They're already launching in some stores. So how do you go about this? You have to think about who do you want to target with your ads. Now, if I just go ahead and I say, throw it to everyone should know about my diapers. I know Pampers, I know Huggies, everyone should know about my diapers too. That's not going to work because you're going to burn through your budget immediately. You can't even go into the diaper space just so simply because diapers is super competitive. You have players who are dominant in the space. Aside from Pampers and Huggies, there's many more of these brands that have been around for ages, and they're winning. They're dominating over there. I know it costs you so much, forget just the amount of audience that exists and the ability to quickly rack up high CPMs, but your cost per CPM is going to be higher, right? If you have a more broad category, similar with a broad and a larger keyword, it's going to cost you more per click. Similarly, it'll cost you more for every impression. So you want to make sure that you have a highly refined group of people. You want to maybe take a look at, okay, I want to see new moms who are health conscious, right? What does that mean? I don't know. Let's say the younger generation, moms aged 20 to 30 are generally more health conscious than those in different demographics, or maybe based on location. Oh, I don't know. LA might be a crunchy city. You have like just different ideas over here as to what demographic, right? You have to think a little bit, and you could do research about it, and you could use, we'll get to the first party data over here, but there's just a little bit of thought that has to go beyond just a simple keyword research piece over here. Now, obviously, within display advertising, it goes all the way. You have every company using serious marketing really takes a lot of consideration here, but to be feasible, there are some simple ideas over here using demographic, behavioral, right? Taking a look at browsing patterns, past history, looking within purchase history, their category affinity, their brand loyalty, like how do people shop within this category, and intent signals. Have they recently searched? Have they been adding it to cart? All of these specific data points, right? If somebody just purchased, a new grill, and then you show them your grill, probably not going to buy it, right? They just spent all that time getting that grill into their house. It's not a good time. Even though they were looking for grills for the past month, if they purchased it already, it's no point going after them, or a very minimal point. Versus, let's say, diapers, maybe they just tried buying a few different brands. They don't really have brand loyalty. Oh, that's a great time to now let's jump in there. Let's try to pitch them our diaper and see if they like it.
And you're able to pull this data from Walmart?
Yeah, so that's this last piece over here is like what does Walmart give you? So Walmart's not going to tell you, this is John Doe living, on 123 Main Street, but they'll give you obviously the first party data that you're able to create using their ad platform. So within Walmart Connect, you can create audiences that you have based on, these different pieces, based on demographic, behavioral, purchase history, intent, all these different pieces and more. I didn't want to get too technical with it because it gets really technical, but there's the ability to create these audiences, and then you might want to not necessarily just pick one each. Like you could have them build upon each other, right? You want specifics within each part, and you could build multiple different audience types.
Really quick, a question comes in. Can you build an audience based on purchase or view history of specific products or brands like on Amazon DSP?
Yeah, exactly. So you could so this is spanning both DSS and DSP. There are some differences between the two, but yes, exactly. You could go ahead and take based on view history within a certain category, view history within a certain brand. You could really fine tune a lot of the specifics over here.
Do you
And
feel that really quick, like, do you feel like because Walmart stubbed its toe originally in its PPC platform advertising launch and its bidding, and that a lot of people were turned away and they haven't jumped back on board? Because as we're going through this, there's a ton of advancements here that
oh, for sure. And I definitely like I'll back it up once I get to the DSS and DSP piece, but there's so much advancement that Walmart's just been putting into their Walmart Connect. I mean, we've been advertising on Connect for quite the while, and they used to have just some simple things like only having one placement per page, no on-site ads. In fact, if you want to kind of get a little bit of a taste of the old Walmart, you could go to like Walmart Canada or Walmart Mexico just to kind of get that little bit of that feel of like, oh, here's the platform that what kind of Walmart used to be. And they've been investing so significantly over here. And a lot of the brands we work with have been in the Walmart space for a while. They've been in Walmart stores for, tens of years. And they've definitely experienced that where they came to Walmart when ads first started and they ran through all these problems. They didn't really know what existed. And now it's only, improved so greatly. I mean, even just display self-serve, that's a relatively new offering to Walmart Connect. This is, I believe it was last February when it was first like formally announced to be fully used. And that's, a year and a half ago. That's really not a lot of time. That was like public, before that was purely beta only. And they're doing so many more advancements even within there. We'll talk about, some of the creative work that they're doing along with AI, utilizing AI to make creatives for you. We could chat about some of these things, but definitely been doing a lot and pushing a lot more. I mean, they have, partnerships, purchasing media on all these different areas, different partnerships that they're doing with, different TVs, all these different things just to make sure, like, I know they're doing a lot of work with TikTok as well, just trying to really get the voice out there that Walmart is growing, and they've been growing phenomenally. So it's definitely
yeah, I mean, this is going to help a ton. I know a lot of it was just that there's a frustration. How many brands are you running into when you engage with them? Like, what would be their average score, 1 to 100 on how well they're doing Amazon advertising? Because my
uh,
guess would be somewhere between a 30 and a 50% is what they would score.
if that, if that. I mean, a lot of people doing things super super basic. They just get in there. Like most people won't even go into the display area just because it could cost so much if you don't do it correctly, and
Mhm.
you'll just be burning cash. So people are scared of that. But even within like sponsored product, like people will get in there and just start throwing cash into auto campaigns and no refinement, and they might get a good ROAS because they're cannibalizing all their organic sales. We have so many scenarios like that. Brands who previous agencies or they've done it in-house and they stop ads and their sales stay the same because there was just no strategy and growth and incrementality. So yeah, I kind of I'll hear you on that 30 to 50. We do work with brands who have had success before, for sure, and we've been able to leverage our softwares to identify further opportunities, but primarily people don't necessarily know what they're doing, and that's gives us an opportunity to work with brands. But let's say within the display like DSS and DSP, very very small segment of advertisers, I would say, even engaging with it. I don't think it's been such a push. I think Walmart's been pushing it a bit recently, but we've been like really pushing it internally ourselves, to get more brands to go this direction.
And then the cost, I know if we go back a couple years when Amazon was really pushing DSP, and there was so much inventory available. The costs were so low. You didn't even have to go to an awareness level. You could literally go almost to a conversion level. Like, are you seeing that like right now? If so few brands are using it, the opportunity would be huge. Like, are we just a couple
Oh,
years behind the
most
Amazon
definitely.
DSP curve?
Most definitely. And I would say like, Walmart DSP has been around, it's through the trade desk. So, the demand, there's definitely like a lot of competition, let's say just from the trade desk, their inventory, and
Hmm.
there is that competition. Obviously, I think it's going to be getting more expensive with time, but I think like the key opportunity that a lot of brands don't leverage is on-site display. We're seeing like super, super low CPMs just because not I'll just give an example. If you go in right now, you'll see like some random, like go to like an incognito browser and just search up like a keyword. You'll see a weird ad for like some random program, and like I doubt they're paying a lot for that because they cannot be converting on those. So like you'll just see like you're not going to get as finely tuned as you'd expect. And a lot of brands, the brands that are leveraging it, are seeing major success. I'll say just from our own experience, which is this is a crazy stat. From all of our accounts that run DSS, that run on-site display, have better performance in their display campaigns than in their search campaigns. I don't know if that says we're poor at doing search, but rather about that the search is more competitive than display. And I say the same thing for even within search, people don't understand that if they just went into brand and video ads, they'd be doing better because it's less competitive. Other advertisers aren't necessarily leveraging it. They don't have the content, and they're just kind of getting in there without actually like doing a lot. So if you're able to win, you might be able to win your sponsored video and sponsored brand for a cheaper cost than your sponsored product. And same thing for display. It's just the same concept. We see that just a higher level, a higher ROAS across the board than sponsored products. That's always been just such an interesting metric that I see across the campaigns we run.
So
I
I
think it,
literally just did it I just typed in
yeah,
random lunchbox while we were sitting here talking, and the display ad here is Pitmaster beans and chili rest. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
even
don't you
want to
want
charge
that in
them.
your lunchbox every day?
Yeah, yeah,
I
You
yeah,
think
it's
what's cool,
Pitmaster Progresso soup. That's why I didn't want to click on the ad, but I
yeah,
ended up doing it.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
what
interesting because it is something random where you would think a lunchbox would show up, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think what it boils down to is just, as Walmart Connect and, Walmart just continues to grow, as in all the different, things that you can do, just having a good strategy in place and understanding what are the right tools in the toolbox to use based on, different companies, what they're looking to do. Is it, launching new items? Is it really driving, continuous loyalty? What it is that, what success looks like to them. And I think that's where we've been really helpful with the clients that we have, some of which, David kind of mentioned, especially like the diaper company. I mean, they're new to the space. It's a competitive category. What can they do to really drive some wins without just throwing money, throwing as much money as they can?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are taking a more that they're with these capabilities, people are now able to take a more strategic look at Walmart.com
Yeah.
than they ever were before to actually drive performance and sales. And the cost is lower than in a lot of spaces than it is on Amazon.
Yeah.
I just think it's a super interesting. I mean, it comes up in conversations now all the time. I look back 2 years ago, it didn't. And now
Yeah.
it's like, hey, we need another alternative to Amazon. We need the growth. We've maximized where we're at. We're spending a lot of money. What's the next one? And it is Walmart. It's awesome.
For
Just a
sure.
reminder of others, if you have questions, drop them in the chat or drop them in the Q&A here and we'll get to them.
And something I just on that point is really interesting is like one of the concerns perhaps people have with Walmart compared to Amazon is the volume. Oh, this category doesn't have enough volume. Okay, that's purely a limitation of PPC because the keywords may not have necessarily that volume. But the shoppers are there. Walmart has, 400 million shoppers, site visits every month. It's a lot of people. taken a look. And if you're able to leverage something like DSS, just on-site ads, just forget off-site for a second, where you're obviously going beyond it all. But even on-site with Walmart, if you could go more audience-based targeting and hit specific people rather than hitting specific keywords, you have a lot more of an opportunity. Some people might not think, they think of Walmart in a certain light. You know, I get my food from Walmart, I get my grocery. I don't think about buying their bike from Walmart. I don't know, like just the concept, so you might want to like, oh, hey, check this out. This exists over here because we saw that recently, you're purchasing your hiking gear, you're purchasing your biking, whatever it was, anything you're purchasing like in a similar space. It gives you that ability to go beyond the limitations of search. And obviously offsite, there's no limitation over there. You're talking about everyone. That's everyone at that point. It's definitely super interesting. So Walmart's been doing a great job of just providing that first party data to you. They're giving you exactly what they have. They see it all. There's so much money within data, and they definitely spend a lot of time to make sure that you're getting those insights. And just jumping back in here is within the audience creations, obviously that initial audience, then you also have rule-based targeting for further refinement. So once you have your ads already live, you want to go ahead and go to the next step, which is after about 2 to 4 weeks, you want to go ahead and like, all right, let's go back to the initial data, and you could create further campaign optimizations or additional lookalike campaigns, just different things that you can do to further fine-tune your targeting. Similar to even in sponsored product, like the first few months or weeks, however you want to go about it, you want to have a little bit more of a broader approach, just kind of gleaning information here, and then you go ahead and start doing the fine tuning. Similarly here, you could create additional campaigns based on those initial data sets. So really cool stuff there on, understanding a little bit about beyond PPC, understanding what does it mean, what other options exist, what does the ecosystem look like. So I want to now dive into a little bit about what actually exists. I know we spoke a lot about this, like what is DSS, what is DSP? What do they even mean? What do they stand for? Interestingly enough, they don't stand for anything close to each other, even though just a letter off. DSS is display self-serve. This is, Walmart Connect's in-platform service tool, and then DSP is demand-side platform. It's where you're able to spend programmatically off-site. And this is currently run through the Trade Desk. So the Trade Desk is in partnership with Walmart for first-party data. There's actually recent news about this, that may no longer be exclusive, and there might be some more news happening over here, TBD. But outside of this, I just kind of want to talk about, just like Aaron was mentioning, the opportunities that exist, what's happening within the space. So as I said, DSS, on-site ads, have been a big push from Walmart just to grow more and more. And it's gotten like, we ran ads in the beta program, and we're like, I don't know how this is working out so well, but it was really limited back then in terms of the capabilities. And we're able to see some results, but not necessarily what we have. As of today, it's such a big push for us to our clients because we're seeing such fantastic results on, like I'm saying, better than search. And it only really went, like I'm saying, public to all customers on Walmart, all sellers, last February. That's relatively new. DSP, well, although it's been around for a bit, one of the big pieces, like I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, is Walmart's been offering managed services to a number of clients. There's minimums. There have to be at least spending 100K a month. That's now going away, and Walmart's taking that away, and they're working directly with providers for this. So brands no longer have this ability to just leverage Walmart for you. You have to work with either in-house, learn it yourself, or work with an amazing agency like SellCord, to have this work done for you. But that's no longer an option. So there's definitely a lot of hustle and bustle within the space. The Trade Desk themselves, I mean, there's been a lot of reports recently what's going on over there. They're getting hit by Amazon. It'd be pretty interesting to see if Walmart ends up going with using Amazon's DSP. Like Walmart and Amazon, they got to figure out how to work with each other in some capacities. We've seen that happen with fulfillment. Really curious to see how this happens with the DSP space. But that's something interesting that might happen. So just taking a look here on the left side, you'll see here, like this is just a concept you might see. These are just some of the different ad types. You'll see on site with Walmart display. You'll see like at the top, shop now. You'll see some different products. You can show different products. This is something that about the creatives piece. So this is actually really cool. There's Walmart themselves has a platform, a tool right now that uses AI for creatives. It's currently in a beta program, but they're trying to just make it easier for brands to just quickly whip up creative. Not everyone has a creative team. They're trying to make it like, how can I just create this simply? There are limitations that it only shows like a plain background image. There are a couple of things here and there, but it's just a great way if you don't have like low lift, really easy just to get your display campaigns going. So that's pretty neat. And if you want some more information about that, definitely reach out to me. I could talk to you about it. Let's talk a little bit about these technical pieces. Where do the ads run? Walmart DSS is all on site. So you have on the home page, you have on browse pages, item pages. You'll see all these different areas throughout Walmart where you'll see these ads. Some are smaller, some are bigger. You have on DSP, it's all offsite, but this could be, video ads, CTV, it could be on your apps, it could be on Facebook, websites, anywhere. And you also have audio as well. Let's say, you're listening to a podcast and boom, you get a little ad. You have the ability to do really everything. The reach is so far with DSP. Targeting options, both of them are pretty similar over here. The one really cool piece that I like to put in here with DSS is it's the one on-site advertising option with Walmart that offers negative keyword targeting. So unlike sponsored product doesn't allow you to do any negative keywords because, I don't know, Walmart doesn't like that. But for DSS, because you're paying per impression, you could actually you have all these things we talked about demographic going up, but you could still do keyword targeting. You could still target, I want to, like, let's say, and it doesn't have to be specific within your category, similar to sponsored product. Like if I'm trying to, this is such a common thing we get, right? You're selling a milk frother and you're trying to advertise on the keyword milk. Walmart's advertising platform for sponsored product is very category based. And if you don't have relevancy, you can't display your ad. So you can't even run your milk frother ad on milk, or let's say a potato slicer on potato, because you're not a potato, you're not milk. But if you use DSS, you could target any keyword you want. There is a relevancy piece that factors into the CPMs, but you don't have that limitation. So you can then show your milk frother over here. You just have that great placement over here. It's just such a great way to target specific keywords and drive traffic that way. And you even have the negative keyword option because, let's say, you don't want to go after certain things. And you could, again, build that on top of the keyword plus audience together to really get strategic with it. DSP, the Trade Desk does have a little bit more functionality than, on-site DSS has. So you do have the ability to fine-tune your targeting a little bit more based on whatever tools they have over there. But overall, they're fairly similar, just in terms of like what type of audience creation exists. Within the funnel, where do these fall within the funnel? We'll talk about this a little bit more throughout the end of the webinar here, but the idea is that DSS, you kind of think a little bit more as mid-funnel. The reason why I like to see it is because you're already dealing with someone on Walmart. Someone's already in their shopping phase. It's not like they're browsing Facebook and having a good time. No, like they're on Walmart, they're looking to purchase, so you're hitting them a little bit more in that consideration phase. Versus DSP is a little bit more upper funnel because you have that ability. However, both of them have the ability to act a little bit more upper funnel and mid and low, right? DSP could go down to a targeting level. You could hit them with target, very specific, very fine-tuned. Same thing with DSS. Keyword targeting, I would say, is more on the conversion side of the piece. So it's just generally where they would fall in terms of the strategy. And then finally here, the key value, what does this bring to you? They both, obviously bring DSS brings you shoppers to purchase on like your products on Walmart, and DSP, expands your reach beyond the limitations of Walmart.com. And is very good I highlight here to drive in-store traffic. What a great way to drive in-store traffic. And Walmart, it's crazy. I mean, how data works, like they're able to track who viewed it based on like their credit card information, like tied to like, I don't know how this data game works, but it's really fascinating how they're tracking. Some guy just swipes his credit card and they realize he viewed an ad 2 months ago or whatever, 15 days ago, that it came from that. Let's
So really quick, is there a minimum spend required? And then the next, I'm going to add to it, is there a minimum spend recommended?
Yeah. So for DSS, there is no minimum spend required. Display self-serve on site, you could spend $5 and call it a day. Obviously, I don't recommend that. The recommended spend for there, I would not recommend a campaign for less than like $5,000. Like you could do even a couple of thousand, 2,000, but you're really not going to, that first discovery phase, you really want to make sure to get through it. So at least $5,000 if you're going to go on site, if you're trying to be very, very cheap. For DSP, it's a lot more specific because DSP, if you want to run ads, it has to be done through the Trade Desk, and the Trade Desk has high minimums. They have a minimum of like 100K a month to run ads through them. So However, you're able to work with partners. Like we're a partner, and if you work through us, you have much lower minimums. And in that case, you don't have. I mean, we do custom for our clients. We have campaigns as low as $10,000, but generally speaking, you want to start with about 20K as like the lowest you want to go with DSP, just because of how broad it is. You're dealing so much broader than you are with DSS or sponsored products. So I would say about, let's say, 5K for DSS and about 20K for DSP as like recommended minimums. But great points. Definitely good section to cover. Here, just a little bit about placements over here. I want to kind of move so we could get to the little Q&A at the end here. You can just see like on DSS, as we discussed different placements, and within DSP, you can see over here on the right, like here's on like within a Facebook type view, or you can see here as on TV. Let's go and talk about the funnel, and we'll get to the key takeaways. So step one within your funnel, right? You want to make sure that you have, if you're building out the approacher, you want to first start with your foundation with PPC, right? That's where you got to that's where you're going to build your conversions. It's where you have to make sure the bottom, the core, the conversion piece is good. If you're going to spend all this money on awareness and, consideration, and you don't have a strong conversion strategy, you're going to lose all that money you spent up there. You have to make sure at the bottom of your funnel it has no holes. There's only one hole directly into your pocket, right? You want to make sure that that's going on. Add in the mid funnel engagement through on-site. Someone just browsing around, they're a Walmart shopper, they see your brand, they're hitting it more and more. It's just getting in their mind constantly. And then lastly, you have the DSP to really use that to build beyond and really drive people to in-store traffic, driving people to Walmart as a whole. And it just also offsite traffic. Walmart loves offsite traffic because it brings in so much value to them, and because people are typically shopping for more than just your product. So it actually has a big impact on your listings rank and your listing strength if they see that you're bringing in a lot of outside ads or just traffic. So here are like some example scenarios, right? Let's say you're launching a new product. Make sure that your PPC is there to capture high intent searches, DSS within the category, very niche, very specific to start. And if you're going to leverage DSP for a new brand, it's there to be like, hey, we're about to launch soon. Find us in your Walmart store near you. You target it to specific zip codes that are near the Walmart stores that is launching in, things like that. If you're trying to grow and scale a mature product already, use PPC to maybe more than just like capturing the high intent searches, but to defend your brand. You have like brand targeting to target your brand, other brands, to make sure that no one else is coming after you. Using DSS to go to similar categories and going beyond that. And lastly, DSP, leveraging it to grab, lookalike audiences, and just like constantly just taking all of that first party data that you have already from, the thousands or millions of dollars that you're making on Walmart, to use that to grab more information. And then similarly here, lastly here, for a holiday campaign, PPC is very rudimentary. You're going to be maxing out your spend during that peak time. For DSS, you want to make sure that you're bringing it a little bit before that, 3 to 4 weeks already, like building up. Like when it comes to Black Friday, you want to make sure that people know they're going to buy your product. And then obviously just bringing that up already now, like holiday season is already close. So those of you launching, big promos, you want to make sure that already early on you're leveraging, hey, make sure to shop Walmart days at Walmart and get your sick deals. So this is like the key here. If I had to sum it up, this would be like the main slide to really focus on here. If you want to take away some key takeaways from everything over here, PPC alone is not enough. You got to really go beyond if you want to truly dominate with Walmart, dominate on Walmart. DSS is for the mid funnel. DSP unlocks, scale beyond that. And then the full funnel approach will equal final stronger outcomes. Alrighty, just gonna jump to a little thank you slide over here with some information about us. But yeah, I see a question already in the chat over here. For both DSS and DSP, how much should the budget be for it to be considered impactful? So we covered this very recently. The idea is for DSS, for on-site, you want to have a minimum of 5K. I hear maybe the difference is how would it be considered impactful? It really varies on like what your goals are. It's hard to, it's always tough for me when people ask me, what should my budget be? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? I deal with brands that sell, $1 billion in Walmart. I deal with brands that sell $20,000 in Walmart. Like, you have to like understand, like, what is your goal? Like, what are you even open to? What are you looking to achieve? So let's say this diapers brand that's looking to dominate and take a bunch of, stores and really grow their business. Maybe for them, like impactful to them is, ending off the year doing 10 million with Walmart, so in that sense, maybe you have to spend, a good two million perhaps in ads throughout the year, maybe three, maybe four, depending on like how aggressively you're trying to go. So find it's not so simple just to give a blanket budget dollar amount. I just like to think in terms of what's the minimum to even get something going, and that would be 5,000 for self-serve DSS and about 20,000 for DSP.
Are you doing that like evaluation for a brand? You just sit down with them and say, hey, let's look through everything, your growth plans, what do you want? And like, here's the overall strategy. And then maybe you run it for them and help them. Maybe you don't.
Yeah. Well, definitely. We talk to brands, we do auditing. We're the big thing about how we look at things at SellCord is we're not a media, just a media. Not a media. We're not just a media agency. We're here to provide a content and media approach for Walmart. It's both of them. If you're trying to dominate Walmart.com, you need to have a strong combined content and media approach. So we have a lot of tools. We do like share of voice tracking, we do keyword tracking, we do sales rank tracking. We're able to see any item on Walmart, how is it currently doing? How's this brand doing with Walmart? Is it dominating in its category? Is it failing in its category? Or is it ranking for its most relevant keywords? All these things, we have information, everything on site. So we could give a good idea of like, here's who you're up against. You're up against whomever you're dealing with. You're up against Pampers. You're up against Huggies. They're dominating combined with a 70% share of voice. This is who you're up against. When you have that information, you can now kind of get like, all right, here's what I can go with. Now we don't have like actual sales numbers, right, for every category because it's very hard to get, but we do have insights into search volume by category, which is super, it's a big indicator of what, the actual sales numbers are, especially when you take a look at like the ASP for the category. So if you take a look at milk, even though it has a high search volume, dollar wise, it's a lot. You're spending $4 a product versus $100 a product. It doesn't matter how much search volume, there's going to be a big difference up there. So just some different concepts within there that we use to identify, top
But I mean,
top
if you're able to do
categories.
that, I mean, if you're able to, the big question is on Walmart, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
That is across the board what people are trying to figure out. And in the past, it's not that the juice is not there, it's just you had to squeeze so hard to get the juice out. And it was so complicated to understand, how to do it all. And the tools were limited. And the info that Walmart was sharing was so minimized that, I mean, walking through this, the amount that they've opened up, now what we have is we have a platform that is finally come around to being a path for growth without spinning your wheels and getting a little bit out. And that is awesome. I mean, if you can help brands walk through that and say, because that's what they're going to do, they're going to go back to their team and say, hey, I want to go all in on Walmart. And they're going to say, well, how much is it? What is the cost going to be? And what am I going to get out of it? If they can show that plan of attack and what the end results can be, I mean, Walmart's going to take off. That's it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's clear. I mean, it's interesting. We just did a data study of like Walmart versus Amazon with their like Prime Day on Walmart Week, and it was really like it was fascinating just to see how much Walmart has come up since. Like they're clearly. I mean, I would say for a while they've been the clear number two, but like it's interesting to see categorically where Walmart's even outpaced Amazon in certain categories. Um, you know, More around like obviously groceries, like really they're dominant, even though with Amazon Pantry, launched, but it's really great to see. And it's interesting when I deal with my larger suppliers, one of the things that they mentioned to me is that their merchants obviously they care for their on-site, but they care a lot about their off-site, not even DSP, but just like how is my general traffic going compared to Amazon? Is Google driving a lot of traffic towards Walmart or towards Amazon because of me as a supplier? So the optimization there piece over there just becomes interesting. It's like, are we optimizing for Google? Are we optimizing for Walmart? Like, how do we even like, take on this approach? So it's very interesting just to see the full dynamic of these two, behemoths when it comes to retail.
Yeah. Awesome. Another question gets dropped in here. Bentonville is recruiting sellers for Walmex and Leader out of Chile. Given the relative youth of these e-commerce markets, are there any nuances to consider, or can a brand copy its current strategy scaled to the size of the business?
Sure. So I believe, let's just say for Amazon versus Walmart, you need to optimize for Walmart. There's not, this is, I would say, like the key, the majority of our customers that we work with have come to us because they just have not seen that success because of exactly this. They do not put in the effort it takes to optimize Walmart. They might have spent years optimizing their Amazon. They're like, I have the best content. I already have everything perfect. And then they get to Walmart. It's like, why isn't this working when I already have the best content? Because you don't have the best content. You have the best Amazon content. You don't have the best Walmart content. You need to optimize for the platform. And specifically, actually, it's because of this piece of Google. This is actually, if you go through the Walmart style guides, they ask specifically that your title on Walmart not be the same as any other platform. Because what happens is if it's the same as the one on Amazon, with Google, there's issues. When somebody's searching for it, Google sees the same exact product twice, they'll bunch them together and it just causes an issue for, yeah, this is just like one of the things with Walmart style guys. They really don't want you having the same title. They really want to make sure that you have that uniqueness, and having the same title definitely impacts your listings. And it's not just about the content, the media plan too. Each platform is different. You have to take the approach of what's going to work for you, right? Like
You
Amazon.
audit content?
What's that, sorry?
Are you able to audit content as well?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think you know, like everybody's been optimizing Amazon content, and it's always content first. What I see a lot of is then they've optimized it for Amazon, and they're like, okay, we've optimized it for the best marketplace, so let's copy and paste it into Walmart. And what you're saying is, nope, don't do it. Optimize it for Walmart, but
For sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
it's
we we
how.
actually have a software that we've been building for a bit. I'm a big data nerd, so like I love getting into these things, and we have like the ability to add any listing or any just even like a hypothetical listing, a title, and I'll show you within its category. Are you hitting the right keywords? Are you categorized correctly? What's your listing score going to be like? Just like these different things, I will give you information like how am I doing for Walmart? Is this the right product is this the right content for Walmart? Is this what I need? And with that information, you're really going to be able to see if you're going to be able to succeed or not. So just some really interesting data pieces from there. So really love that. And you gotta fine tune it for Walmart. The same investment that you spent on Amazon, you have to do it on Walmart, and that's going to be your way to succeed. That you have to spend that time on it, or work with us, and we'll do it for you. But there's definitely
Well, and I think the exciting thing is there are so many more things and more offerings now that Walmart has, whereas even, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, wasn't even, a part of the toolbox. And us understanding what our clients' needs are really helps us put together a custom strategic plan for them that's going to make the most sense and give them the biggest bang for their buck. When they're like, I want to win on Walmart, we can help them do that.
Right. No, it's awesome. So I have another question. Going back to the comment about having different product titles and other content differentiated from platform to platform, do you have any recommendations, or recommendations do you have for brand managers to enable a consistent customer experience across channels?
it's great. It's a great question, Katie. And I think of this, right? Is there a perfect title perhaps for a listing? And let's say I sell multiple, different styles of the same product. Right? Let's say I'm selling kitchen spoons and I have like five different types. One's a little bit more concave, one's a little bit more whatever it is. It's all within the same area. Why shouldn't they all have the same exact title? Because there are slight nuances that you can make within it. You could change a little bit here, move this around here. So what I mean by this is that each product within its own category will be slightly different. So when you have two different platforms, you could have very similar titles. It's not about having a completely different title. It's about having a similar title and taking what I would say is two pieces. You want to have obviously the juice of the title, like what are the key pieces of it. You want to have the keywords in there that make it special to Walmart, specific to Walmart. That's going to hit the algorithm well, but also the same pieces you need to have. The second piece is the brand tone, right? You need to maintain your brand tone throughout, right? Whatever's important to you on Amazon and whatever's important to your shoppers, you want to make sure that you're relaying that same message on Walmart as well. And it could be the style. And what I would suggest though is within Walmart, there's three different places for copy. There's titles, which is on top. Then you have like key features, it's called. which used to be on the bottom. They just moved it like up as well, similar to Amazon. Then you have the description. I would say like the title is the most impactful to SEO. So you want to make sure that that's the most fine-tuned to Walmart. And look, you can still like, if you want, people put what model numbers in there. I don't know if I love that, but just if the brand's there, it exists. And the description and key features is where you could do more of that similarity to Amazon, because those don't play as much of a role. It's more, just it needs to be there within a certain format. So you can have that more similar to Amazon. And again, it's just about similarity. It doesn't have to be just as long as it's not exact. With regards to the images, I know you didn't mention that, but images should stay consistent throughout. Like I recommend, unless you have something specific to Walmart that you want to highlight, you should keep images consistent. So it's just about the title being slightly different. And even within your category, in your own catalog, you'll see differences between two different products. On Walmart, it will be a similar idea. You'll have the same product with a slightly different title. So definitely something we've worked with, but I really see, I haven't heard much of like shopper confusion, like when looking between the two platforms. Especially images play such a big role with shoppers. So if they see it's the same product, it's the same product.
Well, awesome. David, Lane, thanks so much for your time today. This has been absolutely awesome. I would encourage everybody to have a follow-up conversation with the team over at SellCord. They come highly recommended from a ton of brands in the network as a whole. They're just doing some really cool stuff on what I think is probably the next highest growth platform that's popping up out there right now. And so I'd encourage you have a follow-up conversation with them. From my standpoint, I'd love to have a conversation with you as well. I don't sell anything here. We do these events, but I'd love to pick your brain. What are the newest things that you're seeing? More than happy to open up my network to you as well, if there's connections that I have. But also share across the board what I'm hearing from the network. So look for a follow-up email from me. Would love to have a conversation with you. And with that, we're going to wrap up this webinar here. It's been incredibly insightful. Thanks again, David. Thanks, Lane. Everybody take care, stay safe, and look forward to having you at a future event. All righty. See you, everybody. Thanks again.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.